Hey, good afternoon. It is Monday, August 18, 2025, probably 2 p.m. or so. I was working on the folder today. I'm not in my usual location on a boat. I'm at home doing some odds and ends, and I had to do a little quick fix to the four-wheeler ATV, my old trusty Rusty. I came out here for a quick test run to the deep dark woods. I'm not really in the deep dark woods. I'm only a couple hundred yards from my house. But I thought this would be an appropriate place to tell this story. And although my channel isn't about cryptids and the like, it's still, I like stories, and I'm willing to share it. In fact, I wanted to share it. As soon as I was reminded of it, I definitely said I'm going to make a video about that. A couple weeks ago, I was out charter fishing. I had a young guy on the boat, probably in his mid-late 20s. And our conversations, like a lot of charter fishing, out of the boat conversations, you never know what direction they may go. They're often political. However, this guy was really interested in talking about, the unknown, cryptids, UFOs, aliens, over in Scotland, the Loch Ness Monster, things of that nature. And I'm fascinated. Sure, I mean, I can have a conversation about many things. I don't turn anyone down when it comes to good conversation. I'm a good listener, and I like to think I can interject some good stuff. Fun fact: I've been to Scotland, to Loch Ness, and I didn't see Nessie, but hey, who knows? But he reminded me of a story that I had heard years ago. And disclaimer: let me preface right off the bat: this is not my story. This didn't happen to me. It's not even firsthand. It is actually secondhand. I knew a guy that knows the guy that this happened to. And apparently the guy didn't tell the story for a lot of years. But I guess at some point he got where he did tell the story in his older age. And this happened, we believe we got it narrowed down to about probably December of 1979 or January of 80. Not sure which. But this is when this occurred. And this person in question was a wildlife officer, a game warden, as we called them back then. Today, game wardens were often associated with hunting regulations and in the woods in their trucks riding around looking for your bag limit of deer and hogs, wild hogs, whatever. Whereas the guys on the boat were Marine Patrol. Today, we have them under the umbrella of FWC. That's what they're called. They're called some other things too, I won't mention. However, it happened to him. He was a young officer in his rookie year, and he began his career with a lot of energy, a lot of determination, and he was gonna be the guy that gets poachers and the like. And oddly enough, there was a couple guys in the area up in this happened up in the Otter Creek, Florida, Gulf Hammock, Florida area, which is right in western Levy County. Not Levy County, Levy County. There were a couple guys up there. They were brothers, cousins, I'm not sure. But they were known to be quite the poachers. In fact, they were unapologetic about it. In fact, almost downright arrogant. And this guy, this young officer, he made it his mission. He was going to get these guys. They had never been caught. I don't think. So he found an area that he figured they may come to. It was an area somewhere out in the woods between Gulf Hammock and Otter Creek. There are a lot of woods out there. We had recently in the prior year or two had been logged, cut down, so it was pretty clear for a number of acres there. I'm not sure how much. But he parked his truck on a December or January night and walked, a long way. I've heard like nearly a mile to this location. There was a road that led to that location, and he figured that was the route the hunters would take in there with their lights to shoot the deer. And he hunkered down, crouched down right at the edge in the woods, and he waited there for hours. And when he left his truck that evening, it was just after dark, and it was cold and getting colder. And for those in other places that don't realize this part of Florida can get cold, believe me, it can. Just a bitter cold sometimes. Granted, it rarely snows here in Florida. Of course it can happen, but not commonly at all. But it was one of those just cold, brutal winter nights, and again, just cold and kept getting colder. One of those clear, see every star in the sky, and there was a lot of ambient moonlight out. It was a lot of visibility out that night, according to him. And he waited there for the longest time. I mean, it must have been getting on midnight. And he's still there. He's about to give up his hunt. I mean, he was ready to be done. He was tired of waiting on these guys. He had just gotten so cold. He was like, all right, heck with this. I'm going back to my truck. I'm done for the night. These guys apparently ain't coming tonight. They'd have been here before now. And just as he was about to get up, he heard something in the woods, 100 feet away. Just cracking branches, heavy footsteps. Whatever it was not trying to be quiet and stealth at all. Just making a heck of a lot of noise. So his immediate thought was, this must be a bull. A bull's done got out of someone's pasture. It's wandered here somehow or another. It's got to be what it is. Whatever it is big. And he was about to stand up and investigate, maybe even turn his flashlight on. He didn't have a cool LED light back then. He had a little cheapo light with 2 D-cell batteries, archaic lights compared to ours today. But before he even got up, whatever it was came into the clearing. It breached the woods, came into the clearing, and he said the first thing he saw was his legs. It just took him total shock. He said it walked on 2 feet and had real thick legs like tree trunks, and he could see his silhouette very well. He believed it was covered in black hair, maybe 7 feet tall. It was big, obviously. I mean, this thing must have weighed 450 pounds. I don't know, it's big. And the thing must have hurt him. He must have, the guy must have gasped or something, but it hurt him. And when it did, it stopped from his slow walk. And by this point, it's only 25 feet away. It's pretty darn close. And it saw him, so it turned to look at him, and it didn't turn its head like that, he said. It actually turned his whole body to look at him. It's like his head didn't work on a swivel like ours. I've heard gorillas are the same way. But that being said, it paused and looked at him and kind of gave him a look for just a few moments. And it took off walking again, this time at a faster pace. And it wound up through the clearing, disappeared on the other side. How far, the whole encounter couldn't have took 15 seconds. But it really scared this guy. Obviously, would scare any of us. He said that he was in such a shock. I mean, gosh, he was looking at something that wasn't supposed to be real. How would any of us react? I don't know. And he had reached a level of fright that he just didn't believe he could get to. And again, he had a gun. He could have shot it. And he was so scared. He said he forgot he had a gun. And he eventually stood up and worked his way back to his truck, and he's like, gosh, he told the guy that, he's like, I believe I had some heart palpitation that night. And at that point in his life, he probably didn't even know what heart palpitations were. But that was the encounter. The thing disappeared, was there in his sight for 15 to 20 seconds maybe, and it was gone. And that was it. And that guy didn't remain a wildlife officer much longer. He quit and went on to a different career. Why? Was that the reason? I have no idea. I don't personally know the guy. But anyhow, that's the story. And this young fella I had out a couple weeks ago reminded me of that story. And as I told the story to him, I was thinking, I've got to get this out there. It's just too good a story not to keep. I've told the story before. It's just been a long time. But I wanted it recorded, and just thought it was real interesting. Anyway, I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm going to shut the video down, and I hope to have some more content before too long. Have a great day.